John Cena is my favorite WWE superstar of all time, and if I had to vote on who the GOAT of WWE is, I would give that vote to Jonathan Cena. And yeah, that's gonna lead to a lot of people being like, look at this John Cena fanboy, sue me, okay? Sue me that I like John Cena and I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression era. But hey, there's no denying whether you love Cena or not, he's made a giant impact in the world of not just the WWE, but professional wrestling in general. And hell, even outside of the WWE, the man has just become a mainstream phenomenon with his work in Make-A-Wish and of course his work in Hollywood now. And with his return to the WWE coming up soon, I figured, hey, why don't we rank every single John Cena feud of all time from You Can't See Me all the way down to I Don't Want to See You. And hey, as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications. We upload daily wrestling content. We don't miss days here, so I know that you're gonna like this channel. All right, so here are the tiers that we're gonna be using. We have You Can't See Me, Come Get Some, Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks, and I Don't Want to See You. Look, I wanted to come up with fun John Cena related names, okay? All right, so if you're at the top, it's good, and at the bottom, it's bad. All right, that's all you really need to know. You know what? Let's start us off hot with one of my favorite feuds of all time, and that is John Cena versus CM Punk, which, honest to God, saved wrestling for me. This is a You Can't See Me tier. It is such a fantastic feud. CM Punk is the one person that genuinely brought out the best from John Cena. No longer did we have this facade of the unbeatable Super Cena. CM Punk really humanized the man that is John Cena and forced him to evolve, and not just evolve as a character, but evolve as an in-ring performer, giving Cena one of the greatest matches that he's ever had at Money in the Bank 2011, and that feud would continue on to their great match at SummerSlam. This is one of my favorite feuds of all time, and it's not just because Cena carried, because he didn't. This was absolutely carried by CM Punk, but nonetheless, it is one of my favorite John Cena feuds. It is a feud that I find myself going back to and watching like at least once a year. I highly recommend it if you weren't around for the Money in the Bank 2011 days to go watch a retrospective of the summer of Punk and his feud with John Cena, because it is absolutely fantastic. Let's go John Cena versus Orlando Jordan, because we all remember that, right? This wasn't really a feud between John Cena and Orlando Jordan. It was really an auxiliary feud to help set up John Cena versus JBL at WrestleMania. So I don't really have too much to say about this. Yeah, okay, Orlando Jordan beat John Cena to become the United States champion, but it's not as if really they carried a good narrative feud during and after John Cena lost the title. This goes into I Don't Want to See You. It was pretty lame, and again, it was really all about John Cena, JBL at that point anyway. Next up, we have John Cena versus Baron Corbin, and did you forget that they had a feud that led to a match at SummerSlam 2017? Because I almost did. This feud was really just built off the back of John Cena being part of the reason why Baron Corbin was an unsuccessful cash-in at Money in the Bank. It really didn't have too much teeth. It didn't really give us too much to sink our teeth into. It's a pretty mediocre feud, but still, I mean, it is a SummerSlam match. It is a marquee event, and okay, we'll give this into the Cena sucks category. It's not quite I Don't Want to See You, but it's not really a feud that I'm clamoring to go back and see. Next up, we have John Cena and Christian, and again, not really a full-blown feud because Christian was kind of part of a bigger feud, which was John Cena versus Chris Jericho. Christian was there and he definitely made things a lot more entertaining, but really the feud was John Cena versus Chris Jericho, so there's not really too much to sink our teeth into here. There was a triple threat match, I believe, at Vengeance 2005 between John Cena, Chris Jericho, and Christian, and you know, Christian's involvement in the feud was a lot of fun, but again, he's kind of a side thought, so I'll put this into the, I guess, I Don't Want to See You. Hey, let's go to the Wayback Machine and do John Cena versus Eddie Guerrero. If you don't remember this, there's a good chance you weren't born, but yeah, this is a fantastic little tiny feud because it didn't really go too far, but it was for Eddie Guerrero's United States Championship, and it culminated in one of the more fun Ruthless Aggression era segments of all time, and that is John Cena versus Eddie Guerrero in a backlot brawl, I believe it was, or a parking lot brawl. Either way, the match was a tremendous amount of fun. The feud was also a tremendous amount of fun, with Eddie Guerrero and John Cena just being at the top of their game in terms of insulting one another. This is peak Doctor of Thugonomics John Cena, and this is peak, right before his WWE Championship run, I Lie, I Cheat and Steal Eddie Guerrero. They were just magic together. You know, So it didn't last very long, so I'll put this right in the middle into the Let's Go Cena. Next up, let's do John Cena versus Bray Wyatt, a feud that gave us not one, but two marquee WrestleMania matches at WrestleMania 36, which was the Pandemomania, as well as WrestleMania 30. But I really enjoyed the second feud. I wasn't a huge fan of the first Bray Wyatt feud. I also really believe that Bray Wyatt should have won that match. But I didn't love the very first feud because it really reinforced the idea of Super Cena once again. Super Cena being the uncorruptible one. Meanwhile, we've got the Eater of Worlds who should be able to corrupt John Cena even a little bit, but John Cena never goes to the dark side. He never embraces the hate. Meanwhile, the Firefly Funhouse match that we had at WrestleMania 36 in the feud leading up to it was some of the most entertaining television that we've seen in an era, in a time that we really needed entertaining television because we didn't know what the fuck was going on with the world. I'm putting John Cena versus Bray Wyatt into the come get some category. If it was just the WrestleMania 30 feud, I'd probably put it in the middle in the Let's Go Cena, but the WrestleMania 36 feud with the Firefly Funhouse, The Fiend, we even got to see heel John Cena even for just a split second in NWO Cena, so I'm going to put this fairly high up there into the come get some category. John Cena versus Booker T, a Ruthless Aggression era feud that gave us a best of 5 series match for the United States Championship that even included a match at SummerSlam 2004. This was one of the feuds that really was the catalyst and the setup for main event John Cena. Like, this was probably at this point the biggest long-standing feud that he'd really had up until this point, because sure, he had like little microcosms of feud with bigger people like The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, but Booker T is the first main eventer that really gave John Cena a long-standing narrative and feud, and it really helped catalyst and help set him up to be a contender in the upcoming Royal Rumble and eventually main event that upcoming WrestleMania at WrestleMania 21. This is a very important feud for Cena. It's good. It's not great. It goes into the Let's Go Cena category. Next up, we have John Cena versus John Bradshaw Layfield, and this is the best feud that John Cena had up until this point. He was a perfect foil to somebody like JBL, who was the rich, snarky, I'm better than you persona. And then we have John Cena, who is the anti-society, establishment type of guy. And they ended up having a fantastic set of matches. Of course, the climax being their match at WrestleMania 21. But in my opinion, their best match was the following month's Judgment Day in a phenomenal I Quit match. This goes at the very tippity top into the You Can't See Me category. We have Carlito versus John Cena. And if you don't remember this, I'm pretty sure Carlito stabbed John Cena at a nightclub. That's how intense this feud was for the United States Championship. And Carlito also defeated John Cena for the United States Championship on his very first debut match on Friday Night SmackDown. I think it was Thursday Night SmackDown at that time. Either way, I digress. This was a pretty fun feud. This was probably at the time one of the better mid-card feuds that was going on at that time. And they did go on to also have a feud beyond that, like during the time where Carlito and Chris Masters were partnering with each other. If you remember the New Year's Revolution match where John Cena was defeated by Edge in the first ever cash-in, the last person standing were John Cena and Carlito. I'm going to put this into the Let's Go Cena category. I mean, he did get stabbed at a nightclub. Next up, we have John Cena versus Mark Henry. And although this wasn't a long-standing feud that didn't really have too many matches, it gave us one of the best heel segments I've seen in a very long time in Salmon Coat Mark Henry. I love this. I love the setup. I love the fake retirement angle, although it didn't really lead to bigger matches really beyond a couple here or there. That initial promo and setup was just freaking legendary, though. Because there weren't so many fantastic matches, I can't really justify putting it beyond Let's Go Cena, like right in the middle of the pack, but I wanted to be known that fake retirement angle is still, to me, one of the most brilliant segments on Monday Night Raw. We have John Cena versus RTruth, and this was where I was so close to stopping watching wrestling because it was getting ridiculous. The feud between John Cena and RTruth, I could not stand, and it led to a very, very mediocre match at WWE Capital Punishment. I don't like this feud. I'm going to put this into the Cena sucks category. At the very least, it did help set up John Cena versus CM Punk to some degree, so I got to give it some props there, but John Cena versus RTruth is a feud I never want to watch again. All right, let me throw a fast one at you. How about John Cena versus the fans? Because his entire career, all we heard was "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." Such a large portion of the WWE universe just not loving John Cena to the point where they're willing to riot if he wins. They demand that he turns heel, but John Cena got them even more angry by even being more of a good guy. John Cena versus the fans is about as timeless a battle as you could possibly get. This is at the very tippity top. John Cena versus the fans. The WWE universe goes into the highest of categories, into the you can't see me. John Cena versus Rikishi. It led to a fun rap battle, and I think there was a dance off too. It did lead to a pretty awesome moment with John Cena picking up the 400-pound Rikishi for an FU. I think this was the feud where we really learned, holy shit, John Cena is strong still. This is a nothing feud. It's in the I don't want to see you. John Cena versus Austin Theory, which culminated at the most recent, as of the making of this video, WrestleMania 39. And really, the match was kind of a nothing match. In my opinion, I think John Cena should have won this and then maybe just immediately drop the title to Theory the next night on Raw. I think that would have been better for Theory's career to actually lose to John Cena. But the match was fairly lackluster. The feud really wasn't a feud. There was one promo battle between the two. That's it, into the entire lead up. And John Cena absolutely massacred, destroyed, obliterated Austin Theory with that promo. I'm going to put this into the Cena sucks category. It almost went into the I don't want to see you category, but that promo by Cena where, oh my God, where he just absolutely went in on Theory was just too good. I had to put that into the Cena sucks category. Next up, we have John Cena versus Daniel Bryan, a feud that really was just a match set up based on respect. John Cena wanting to give the audience, the WWE universe, what they were clamoring for, and that was that Daniel Bryan get an opportunity. And John Cena gave Daniel Bryan that opportunity, and it culminated in a match at SummerSlam, which was an absolutely fantastic match. Was there a feud? Not really. And they didn't really carry the feud beyond this, because then Daniel Bryan would go on to feud with The Authority and John Cena with Randy Orton. Really, this wasn't a feud, but it had a fantastic match at SummerSlam. At the very least, we have to give it props there. And that match was absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put this into the Let's Go Cena category purely for how good that SummerSlam main event was. But really, there's not too much in terms of narrative to really sink your teeth into here. Let's go to a popular John Cena feud in John Cena versus Umaga. And I am going to put this into the come get some category. This was really the first time that John Cena had faced something that was superhuman, and it matched very well with his Super Cena, if that makes sense. But yeah, Umaga gave John Cena the run of a lifetime. They had some fantastic matches, culminated in just an absolutely gruesome match at that year's Royal Rumble. This goes into the come get some category. Almost with that match alone, we get the visceral image of John Cena just choking Umaga with the ring ropes. It was a moment in time. You had to be there for John Cena versus Umaga. It is a great feud. John Cena versus Kurt Angle also goes into the come get some category. As many of you famously know, John Cena debuted against Kurt Angle and gave Kurt Angle a run for his money and gave us the ever famous quote of ruthless aggression. But this really isn't the feud that I'm talking about. There was a feud in 2005 where we had the wrestling machine Kurt Angle take on John Cena several times with being being unsuccessful and being able to dethrone Super Cena at the time. Young Super Cena. Super Cena was still up in the making, but it led to some fantastic matches. Let's not also forget that there was also another Ruthless Aggression era feud where he made John Cena tap out twice. And if I'm not mistaken with my John Cena history, that is the last time that John Cena tapped out. This is why everybody wanted John Cena to be the one to retire Kurt Angle, because it would have been just such a nice full circle story. But yeah, these guys had a wonderful set of matches, 3 separate feuds throughout the years. It goes in like fairly high up here. It goes into the come get some. John Cena versus AJ Styles gave us one of the greatest trilogies in professional wrestling history. It goes into the you can't see me category. Their 3 matches, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, were out of this world good. This just demonstrated just how fantastic somebody like AJ Styles was, and he needed the superstar magnifying glass that John Cena gave him for the wider WWE universe to recognize just how good AJ Styles was, because AJ Styles was still making a name for himself. That was his first year on the roster after debuting at that year's Royal Rumble. And yeah, the superstardom brought by Cena and the absolute world-class professional wrestling brought by AJ Styles made these two just a match made in heaven. And the feud was fantastic. The narrative of the beat up John Cena, the face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp. Great feud. Go back and watch it, if not just for the matches, because the matches were absolutely fantastic. John Cena versus Kevin Owens was another great feud, and this is the height of John Cena putting over younger talent. And sometimes it was putting them over by letting them win, like how he did with Kevin Owens, but sometimes it was also putting them over by beating them in a fantastic, grueling match that demonstrated just how ready that younger talent was to take on higher echelon main eventers like the likes of John Cena. And I believe genuinely that John Cena did everything in his power to make Kevin Owens a superstar, and he succeeded. Also, the narrative between these two, like these two on the microphone, there's very few people that could hang with John Cena on the microphone. I don't think that Kevin Owens is on par with John Cena, but he was able to hang with him at least. Like, let's not forget, like John Cena is so good on the mic that he made The Rock mad. All right, like and he absolutely destroyed Austin Theory. So to be able to hang with John Cena, all right, like that's a badge of honor, Kevin Owens. That goes into the come get some. John Cena Triple H also goes at the very tippity top into the you can't see me category. It is one of John Cena's most important feuds. This was really his first real test in terms of taking on a bona fide legend of the business when they feuded for the WWE Championship and main evented WrestleMania 22. This was also the time where the fans turned on John Cena because they wanted Triple H to win. And it was a combination of people being tired of Cena winning everything and people just thinking that Triple H was just the cooler guy. But aside from that feud in 2006, they also would go on to have a series of matches that even included a match in Saudi Arabia, in case you forgot, at the greatest Royal Rumble. But yeah, the feud was long-standing. The matches had a lot at stake. Some of the matches were absolutely fantastic. I think WrestleMania 22 is one of Cena's best matches. So yeah, this absolutely goes into the you can't see me category. Next up, we have John Cena versus Rusev, which culminated at a match at WrestleMania 31 for the United States Championship. This was a really important feud because it solidified the United States Championship as a really important prize to go after. If John Cena was willing to take a break from the main event scene and go after the United States Championship at WrestleMania of all places, then it just elevated that championship and the champion at the time, Rusev, to a whole nother level. This is a match that was okay, but the presentation of their match at WrestleMania was really what it was all about. The Russian Rusev coming out in a freaking tank, and then the all-American Cena coming out to all the Patriot and Americana imagery. It was pretty awesome, and it ultimately led to the John Cena US Open Challenge. But yeah, these two had a pretty decent feud, I can't lie. I'm gonna put this into the Let's Go Cena category. It doesn't really go beyond that, but I personally enjoyed it. Next up, we have John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, and this is a weird feud because it was never really like a long-standing feud. It was always like very spread out apart in terms of all the matches that they had. Like, for example, there was a feud between them at 2003's Backlash, I believe, or might be 2004. That was one match and that's it. And then there was the Extreme Rules 2011 match, or 2012. I'm getting my years mixed up. And then there was the SummerSlam 2015, 2016, where John Cena was absolutely mauled and destroyed by Brock Lesnar. So they never really had a long narrative to string everything together. It was just always really big marquee matches. That's really it. That being said, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar is about as marquee match as you could possibly get. And I have to give credit where credit is due in this feud, because the Extreme Rules 2012 match, 2012, it was 2012. Extreme Rules match 2012 was absolutely phenomenal. I think the wrong person won. I think Lesnar should have won. And then that SummerSlam match, although, you know, as a Cena fan is tough to watch, is ever important because it completely removed the veil and the facade of Super Cena, and it allowed Cena to be more human in his upcoming feuds after that match with Brock Lesnar. So I think it's a very, very important feud. I'm going to put this into the come get some category. John Cena versus the Great Khali. It wasn't as good as Umaga. It served the same purpose as the Umaga feud, giving John Cena this unsurmountable object to try and overcome as he continues to be WWE champion. It was fine, I guess, but here's the thing, like, you're not really going to have a great feud with the Great Khali, especially when it comes to promos, because he can't talk, and in-ring work because he can't work. So I'm putting this into the Cena sucks category. Let's do John Cena versus Kane in the whole embrace the hate storyline. That was fucking stupid. Oh my god, I hated this. It culminated in an ambulance match, because those are always entertaining. But yeah, no, like this sucked. I'm gonna put this into the I don't want to see you category. I don't know why this is in here, but I'll take it. John Cena versus Lita is worth talking about, even just because of all of the insults that John Cena hurled her way. Just some shit that you just cannot say on television today. But they really, she was just a part of the Edge feud, which we're going to talk about right now. But I'll put the feud, the little microcosm of a feud that he had with Lita, into the Let's Go Cena category. And on that note, let's just go ahead and grab Edge, arguably John Cena's greatest rival, greatest feud of all time. So many matches that I don't even know where to begin. I will mention two highlights of this feud. Of course, the first ever Money in the Bank cash-in happened when Edge cashed in on John Cena. We also had their Unforgiven TLC match, which was absolutely just a slobber knocker. The SummerSlam match. Can you believe they never had a one-on-one WrestleMania match with how long and prolific this feud was? This is Cena's arguably most important feud that he's ever had, because he desperately needed an arch nemesis at the time when he was on the rise as the top guy in the WWE, and Edge gave him that. So I'm putting this into the you can't see me category. John Cena versus Chris Jericho did have a WWE Championship match at SummerSlam that year, but this feud didn't really go too far beyond this. It was an entertaining feud, and it was another feud where the fans just did not want John Cena to win. They were fully behind Chris Jericho here. It was fine at best. I'll put this into the I'll go to the Cena, Let's Go Cena category, because the match was pretty good. Let's go John Cena versus the Nexus, a very iconic feud for John Cena in a time where he kind of really needed something to really sink his teeth into. He had really done it all up until this point, and he had beaten everyone to this point. So it was refreshing when a bunch of young guys just came together to team up against the unbeatable Super Cena and really took him to town. It's unfortunate really how the whole feud ended, but nonetheless, the months that we got John Cena versus the Nexus, John Cena, Wade Barrett, everything that was in there in between, his tag team championship win with David Otunga, sure, all this was great. I don't love how it ended with pretty much the burial of the Nexus, but it was good while we had it. It goes into the come get some. John Cena versus Sheamus was fine, I guess. There was that TLC tables match where John Cena literally threw himself through the tables. It was, you know what? No, I didn't like, I was going to put this in the Let's Go Cena. I hated this. I hated this. Let's put this into the Cena sucks category. We have John Cena versus John Laurinaitis, and I never want to see this ever again. I never want to see John Cena main event a pay-per-view versus John Laurinaitis wearing a full body, I don't know, like scuba dive wetsuit. Main event over CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking... No, never again. I don't want to see you. We will put John Cena versus Roman Reigns into the come get some category. Yeah, sure, they had that match at SummerSlam 2021, which was, to me, a very important match in terms of really cementing the WWE saying we are no longer in the Thunderdome era. We are no longer in the pandemic era. Welcome to the new era of professional wrestling. Wrestling has healed, and you know it's healed because we have John Cena versus Roman Reigns happening right now. To me, though, I will say the highlight of their feud wasn't even like their main SummerSlam match. It had to be the feud in 2017, I believe it was, where John Cena just completely eviscerated Roman Reigns on the microphone. Roman Reigns was not ready for Cena. Remember I mentioned earlier that a lot of people just get absolutely overwhelmed and destroyed by John Cena? Roman Reigns was one of those people, and he barely recovered from that. Thank goodness that he did, because it was a complete burial of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns looked really bad when he grabbed the mic and tried to talk back. We got that famous line of him stuttering through his lines and John Cena being like, "It's called a promo, kid. If you're going to be the top dog, you're going to need to learn how to cut one." It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio was a fine feud. Yeah, it was a fine feud. It had some good matches throughout 2013. It also had a couple of matches that should have included CM Punk but didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was a fine feud, I suppose. Let's go John Cena versus The Miz. And their feud leading into WrestleMania 27 was terrible because it wasn't really a feud. It was still just The Rock versus John Cena featuring The Miz. That really was what that feud was. And then they did end up having a second feud at WrestleMania. I think it was like 32, a mixed tag match between John Cena, Nikki Bella, and The Miz and Maurice. I think people remember The Miz as being a much bigger foil and rival to John Cena, and I never really thought that he was all that. I'm gonna put this into, like, honestly, the Cena sucks category. I never enjoyed John Cena versus The Miz. On top of that, we never really got John Cena versus The Miz when The Miz was fucking awesome on the mic. Like, nowadays, if we were to get John Cena versus The Miz, their promo battles would be absolutely legendary and out of this world because it's two of the best to ever do it. But at that time, The Miz was still fairly green and was still getting absolutely eviscerated by John Cena on the mic while also being an afterthought. Hey, we already mentioned them, John Cena versus The Rock. A lot of people hold this in really, really high regard. I'm going to put this into the come get some category, mostly because it was two matches. All right, it was two matches, and it was two matches that were 1 year apart. And for the build up for those matches, for the most part, The Rock wasn't there. Now, what we did have, I thought, was phenomenal, lightning in a bottle, and just the fact that there are two matches that involve two of the biggest names, not just in wrestling, but in pop culture. John Cena and The Rock is absolutely mind-bending and mind-boggling. But when I compared, like, as a feud, compared to the ones that I have above it, like CM Punk, JBL, The Fans, AJ Styles, Triple H, and Edge, like, do you really put the feud with The Rock up there? I don't. I think that's absolutely overrating it, as much as I love John Cena versus The Rock, because it's literally my 1 and 2, my two favorites of all time, having a feud with one another. There wasn't enough there because it was too special of a show. You know, like, it was only happening once every couple of months that The Rock would decide to grace us with his presence. John Cena had to carry everything. But yeah, like, it is an absolutely iconic WrestleMania feud. But as a John Cena feud, when I compare it to the ones above it, I can't put it in the same class. John Cena versus Ryback was fine. I think it was really just about giving John Cena an intimidating foil to go up against after having beaten The Rock at WrestleMania. It was fine. It wasn't great. I'm going to put this into the Cena sucks category. John Cena versus Batista also goes just below the you can't see me tier. You would think, right, with how parallel their careers were up to that point, that they'd have more feuds. But really, it was one long-standing feud that went from basically SummerSlam to that year's WrestleMania. Their SummerSlam match was way better than the WrestleMania match, in my opinion. Their match matches were shockingly good. A lot of people at that time thought this is going to be kind of trash, but we're here for it because the star power of Batista and John Cena. I would have thought that we'd get a lot more of this. We never did. It never really felt like this blood feud against like somebody like Edge, for example. So it just falls short of the you can't see me tier, but it's definitely up there. John Cena versus the Big Show, very important feud for John Cena. I mean, it's also like Big Show for a while was really just a prop to demonstrate John Cena's strength. And it all started at WrestleMania 20 with their United States Championship match, but they would have on and off feuds throughout the years. And it even included a World Championship match at a WrestleMania, albeit a triple threat match. But yeah, it was an on and off feud that was really there. Okay, like we don't have anyone for Cena right now. No one's ready for Cena. Okay, give him the Big Show so that we can show John Cena picking him up and demonstrate just how strong Cena is. Such good shit. Next up, we have John Cena versus The Undertaker. And if it was just their WrestleMania feud, I would put this into the I don't want to see you category, because why in the world would you book John Cena versus The Undertaker? Granted, I know Taker was past his prime, but why would you book it for a 3-minute squash match? Like, that is a match that we were waiting for like 15 years. We were clamoring for John Cena versus The Undertaker at a WrestleMania, so much so that when we got it, our excitement levels were through the roof, even though we knew that The Undertaker was past his prime and so was John Cena. We weren't expecting a 5-star classic, but we weren't expecting a squash match. That being said, that wasn't their only feud. They did have a Ruthless Aggression era feud during the American Badass phase, and that was pretty good. And so I'm going to put this into the Cena sucks category. It just gets saved from the I don't want to see you. Next up, let's go ahead and grab John Cena versus The Authority. I mean, this was a major storyline for the better part of an entire year. It's not something that I love personally, because there was no match with the people that were involved in The Authority at the time. Like, there was no match with Triple H, there was no match with Stephanie McMahon. The matches were really with Seth Rollins, who I guess you can make the argument of being part of The Authority, but I wanted to include the powers of The Authority here because there were a lot of promos between those two, and they were the ones that were making John Cena's life hell. But let's go ahead and grab Seth Rollins, who goes into the come get some category, and John Cena made an absolute star out of Seth Rollins. Let's not forget their fantastic SummerSlam match that ended not so fantastically with Seth Rollins walking away with both the WWE Championship and the United States Championship. Seth Rollins struggled, but he hung on the mic with John Cena because, again, dude, you're not gonna beat John Cena in a promo battle unless you're CM Punk. Like, that is the only person that is toe to toe, maybe better than John Cena in promo battles. But Seth Rollins survived, and he did much better than Roman Reigns did earlier on in his career. Their matches were great. The feud was great, but really, like, let's not forget that the feud was not just John Cena, Seth Rollins. It was John Cena and the entire Authority. Next up, we have John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, and to me, this goes into the come get some category because it gave John Cena some of the best matches that he's ever had. Kind of like early demonstration of what John Cena was capable of doing with the likes of AJ Styles, except he was doing it with Shawn Michaels, who was towards the end of his career. He was about 2 years off from retirement at this point, but they ended up having some fantastic matches. The world wanted Shawn Michaels to win the big one because we hadn't seen him hold the world title since 2002. So really, everybody's like, well, we never got to see heel Cena. This was basically heel Cena because nobody wanted Cena to win. In narrative, he was the good guy, but not a single soul was rooting for John Cena. Their matches were fantastic. The Backlash match, the Monday Night Raw match, the WrestleMania 23 match. It just gave us so many wonderful matches. This goes into the come get some category. Next up, and last but not least, we have Randy Orton, that I don't think any of you are going to argue that is at the very tippity top. This is John Cena's probably most prolific, most important feud. It is often regarded as the biggest feud in WWE history alongside The Rock, Stone Cold Vince McMahon. Like, it's in that conversation in terms of like how prolific and and important this feud was for the WWE. It is two of their biggest guys, and they went at it for the better part of a decade, from like 2008, 2009, even having matches into the 2010s. This is, of course, an undeniable tippity top. You can't see me. Also, Cena versus Bald Randy Orton. That's the highlight of this feud. Like, that is the absolute climax of this feud. All right, that's it. I'm so glad Cena's back. You can't see me. Get out of here. And that's why you can't see me, because I sent you off. Bye.